All right, so up next we have the Blackening, right? Which
Right.
I've been hearing about. Well, actually, fun fact, right? Somebody tagged me on the trailer for this, right? Normally,
Right.
when trailers drop, I would see it pop up on my Facebook feed, and then I just tag people, right? But yeah, this is like one of the first, one of the few times where somebody actually tagged me on this, right? So I would
My
just talk
I
about the premise
so
first, quick.
before we start, I'm not ashamed that I got the last question immediately.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, that's all I'll say.
Yes. Yeah, me too, me too. Yeah, so The Blackening, in a nutshell, is a horror comedy, right? But it's more a send up of just the representation of black actors in horror films, right? Especially slashers, because
Right.
this is what they're leaning on, the slasher genre. So it's not like, say, Get Out, where it was leaning more towards, you know, oh gosh, well, it was a slasher, but it was just more like a body snatchers kind of vibe when it comes to the horror. This one is pure
Right.
slasher stuff, right? Um, and as a bigger pastiche, though, well, yeah, it does kind of feel like a pastiche of what you would see in your average slasher film, right? But oddly enough, while I was watching this, what this also reminded me of, too, what I was thinking about as well, is like, if this came out, if this to me is like what like if remember Keenan Ivory Wayans did "I'm Gonna Get You Sucker" right in '88, which was send up of black exploitation tropes, right? This
Right.
one feels like if Scary Movie did not exist and Keenan Ivory Wayans
That's the
was
thing.
still making
That's the
send up of certain
right.
genre tropes in films. This is the type
Right.
of film
That's
he
why I
would
feel
do.
like this was. That's the thing. Totally feel like something that he could have done, but at the same time, that's the problem with this. It feel, but it didn't. The problem is that the amount of the comedy needed to punch up. That was my main problem, and that's the main problem I had because it feel like it's like wait, boy, this is a good idea for a script or whatever it is, but like yeah, it feel like man like D Storm and King back write this shit. Like that would feel like Dread. Like and that's the main problem with it. Like it have a couple of good, legit funny jokes, but it's still something that you see on. And here's the thing: it don't even have the best of that. It feel like the mediocre, weaker jokes of Black Twitter. Not even the best stuff on Black Twitter. It feel like the mediocre jokes on Black Twitter. Or well, now it's spill.com, right? If you get our reference, right? It's that. That would feel like. And that is a really unfortunate because this just needed a punch up, Jared. Because it could have been good. But yeah, go ahead now.
Right. All right. Well, I'll talk about the humor of it as well too, right? But
Right.
as I bring up Scary Movie, okay, if you remember, I think I don't think Keenan worked on it. I think it was more Sean and Marlon work on just with the writing with Scary Movie, right? But in that case, similar to something like Dobie a Menace, that's where they just go in for pure parody, right? It's just that schlocky, over the top humor, right? That's what they're going for.
Right.
Thankfully, this one does not go into that route, although with the exception of a few scenes, one in particular being a final bit that plays during the end credits. Like when that moment happened, I was like, yeah, that's some Scary Movie type shit right there, right?
Yeah.
But it's kind of clever. It's kind of clever when you think about it, right? So it's about, right? We introduced this couple, one of Morgan and Sean, right? Morgan is playing by McGill, Eva and Orgy. I was like, hey, you
Yoshi,
just
yeah. Right.
say word. I love you in Insecure, word, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and in a cabin in the woods, and during
And
Juneteenth,
Sean is that fellow from SNL now.
um,
He named by
J,
Jay
J, J
Farrow.
Farrow, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And they actually have something going on with this, right? Where it's set during Juneteenth, right? And I think I'll
Right,
just say this
right.
off the bat. I could see this being a staple of like Juneteenth viewing. Like every Juneteenth you
Right.
tune in, you always you fire up the Blackening, you watch it, you have fun, right? So yeah, they cabin in the woods. They run into this board game called the Blackening. They open it up to see this face like blackface character, and it's sort of like a cross between the Ghostface Killer in Scream and oh gosh, I forget, oh gosh, Saw, right?
Right.
The Jigsaw, right? The sort of puppet, right?
Jigsaw, right, yeah.
Where it's like, okay, you have to answer this question, and if you don't answer it, you die, right? So that's what happens. So shit goes real and bad things happen, right? and now we're introduced like to this group of individuals, right? That they are also friends with Morgan and Sean, right? Seven individuals actually,
Right.
and they come to the cabin for a weekend, right? Well, Juneteenth weekend, if you will, just there to have fun and relax and smoke weed and play speeds for whatever reason, right? And
Well, Spades is a typical black. That is a black card game. Again,
yeah,
it does a lot of in universe jokes that. Well, I'll admit because I'm not a black American.
uh huh.
There's some of this it just didn't hit me. I get it. Like I get the joke is like the O'Reilly's auto thing. I get that.
Yes, yes, yes.
I
But
get
you
that.
had to be a black American to get it, because
Yeah,
that's
to
part of
appreciate it as
the
much.
culture. Well, the
Yeah,
zeitgeist, if you will, right? Yeah, it's like that.
it's like it's almost as if like if somebody make a joke or like I can imagine a local person doing equivalent of this in Trinidad. Like somebody have the Pennywise theme song, in a movie,
Mm.
right, or something like that, right? And you're hearing Percy Parker Williams, girls, 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 drop shop at Pennywise, and they put that in a bit.
Oh Jesus.
Cause it's a super like one of the most popular songs on radio and jingles, right? Is that? Yeah, I can see that's what it is. So you had to be there. I don't know. A lot of that humor is that so that I can really get into it for that. But whatever. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so they arrive at the cabin and they stumble on the game, and we
Okay.
learn that there is this
It about Bojangles' face. Well,
yeah, that's what I
well,
mean with
black.
the
Yeah,
with the blackface thing, right? Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And surprise, surprise, there's a killer around, right? And he and by the way, points for the choice of weapon he has with a crossbow. Like, I would not lie, right?
Right. Yeah.
There's moments where I was flinching, like every time you just hear,
Yeah. Yeah.
like the arrow will go, okay, you
Yeah.
just wondered who we gonna
Yeah.
hit and where they gonna hit them. Like, it just make me
Right.
flinch, right? Yeah, so we have this killer about, and they are trapped in the house, and they have to play this blackening game, or else, everybody dies, right? And that's the gist of it, right? So, just to get the good out of the way, I think that acting wise, everybody did their thing, right? Everybody have great comedic timing, for the story that's being told. I was surprised to see Jermaine Fowler in this, though. I was like, all right, okay, you in this, but they do the kind of scream/scary movie thing
Right.
where it's the invalid character, if you will, right? So that would be like what oh gosh, David Arquette's character was,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
well, they,
Right.
they, they, they make him into this caricature in Scary Movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he looks weird, so you instantly think, oh, well, he had to be the killer because look at how weird he looks, right?
Yeah.
And I'll do want to say anything beyond that, right?
Right.
But the show does a great job in terms of making you guess who the killer is, and
Right.
this the whole setup of because it's what they're really doing. It's taking the whole trope of, oh, the black guy always dies first in a horror movie, right?
Right. So what is
Which I
happening?
felt Jordan
Everybody
Peele,
black.
right? Which
Yeah.
I felt Jordan Peele did very well with
That.
with Get
Thank
Out,
you.
right? Right,
Y-
with
Yeah.
with the
Here's the
setup
thing with this movie, right? I'll say let's
with the
last.
boy with Lakeith Stanfield in the beginning,
Yeah.
right? That was great.
There's a problem with this movie. This movie come too late to be doing something like this. Like it telling
Agreed.
these
If this
jokes.
came out before, Get Out way, I'd be like, all right, this
Right.
show is
If it
on
came
to
out, it
something.
had to come out. If this came out like around 10 years ago, yeah. But it the joke too late. So it's like a bunch of internet people telling a late joke after the fact and then acting as if they're telling something ahead of time. So it's for a new audience who don't know like
Yeah, who
the
don't know
last 10
who
years
don't know
of
these
film now.
things. Yeah.
Yeah, that
So,
was what I say. That's what I say. I felt if they did the best of Black Twitter, right?
mm,
Like the really like stuff like N-word Navy or brat da 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 in another man's house. If they got that energy, it could have worked. But is the Storm King back nonsense where it's just goofy shit for because that's the thing, who it for now? It's a bunch of black jokes that I know a lot of white people won't get or care for. But like it's already jokes that black people don't know. So like wait is for black people, it's for white people who want to learn this stuff for the first time. Like most of it was falling flat for me in that way now. But it's kind of funny. Like there's one joke that I liked involving friends. That's all you need to know.
oh yeah, that was
Because
a great joke.
I'm
Yeah.
glad that they went there with it. Because like on the one end, I knew it had one answer. I was like, wait, four black people in friends, who was that way? And then they make them that all
Plus,
right. And then
all
when they
that
what
stuff
they
I
do
didn't
with
know,
it.
All that stuff was
No,
news
I
to
knew
me, boy.
one answer. I knew one answer. That was with Kish Daniel from Archer.
All right, right.
Um,
Aisha Tyler.
Aisha Tyler, right? She was in that, right? That is it. So I know that for other people, and then they answer all the questions, and then when they do it, and flip the joke, and like, all right, that not bad. It have jokes in it, but they could have. I was just watching this, I'm like, wow, they should have punched this up good. It's a shame that they could have punched it up more.
Right, but
However,
but,
yeah,
but I
go ahead.
agree with you, man. Because while it is funnier, it is funny. Like you could tell, it's really because of the chemistry between the leads themselves. Well, that's just the actors themselves. Yeah, cause they do a great job with
Yeah,
that, right? Yeah, it just
yeah,
needed just some punching up, man. Like it was like gut busting laughter to me, and I thought we could have gotten
yeah,
that with a movie with a premise like this, right? So I'm not even gonna call names, but I know a few people who were on Facebook, like like expressing how much they were enjoying the humor of the Blackening. So I went to this like, holy shit, I got me like a real cracking up over this, right? I just say like I just
Dread.
watch it like,
That was
all
also telling you,
right,
you know, I
well,
so glad I didn't hype myself
yeah,
up for
like
this.
yeah, that's funny, but it
It
ain't
is
that
not funny.
funny.
Yeah,
That's how it felt.
I
That's
was
how it
real
felt.
glad. Yeah, because I was like, I hyping up. I got people hype up, and I was like, I so glad I didn't hype up. I didn't hype up myself for this too. It was like, wow, they could have do so much
Yeah,
more with this too. But it's still
it
alright,
is,
you
yeah.
know.
And
It's still fine.
I think for
Yeah,
me, just looking at the premise and what they're going for with the dissection of horror itself, right? I just felt like they could have do more with the premise itself because all we just really get is the house and outside the house, but they could have do so much more with it, right? Because reason being is because they have to sell the fact that we don't want these characters to die. Main reason is because they're black, right? Because that's a joke, right? We don't want that. We don't want anybody to
yeah,
die. So how can we tell a convincing enough horror film out of it, right? But because it just spends so much time with the black jokes and all that, which is fine and all that too, and not enough time in terms of just building a really compelling and convincing horror story, yeah, it just kind of misses the mark now, you know what I mean? So, in other words, what I say, like, they
yeah,
have the humor down, right? Even though they could have bumped things up, right? But I just felt like as a horror, it just kind of leaves much to be desired. The beauty of stuff like, say, Get Out, right? Which wasn't a comedy per se, but it still functions as a great horror. But it just had moments of great humor. Is at the end of the day, you could look at it as a great horror film, and you could still look at it as sort of like a comedic look or subversive look at the horror genre itself. This one could have done that, but no, it's just all about the jokes and it's all these jabs now, you know what I mean, all that kind of stuff. Instead of like trying to give them a legit convincing horror story
yeah.
in it, right? Okay, yeah.
Okay, so
So
from what I understand, if I remember correctly, this was online. Like, this was a short that was online. I think so.
I don't know, and
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if
But
it
I think
was.
though,
Okay, it kind of feels like that.
as I say, you had to punch up your short drill because you just feel like one of them shorts that one of them college for funny or die, one of them college humor or something. No.
College humor, yeah, yeah.
But all black kind of joke with it. Now. Like I get it, you know, but it don't
Yeah.
deserve a whole movie for this. On you had to punch it up. You had to punch it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
And last thing last though, even the reveal though, like I
Yeah,
just did like
yeah,
I want to feel it, I want to feel it,
yeah.
but still it's like ah, you know what I
In
mean?
that
Like
day, yeah,
in other words, it feels like it spends so much time trying to poke fun at the horror genre, for the representation of black actors, that they kind of forgets that yeah, it is a horror film at the end of the day, and
yeah,
we should
yeah.
kind of deliver that, right? But it didn't. So even right down with the reveal, there's just like I feel it, but still not that much, though. You know what I mean? But I'll give it. I will see this, right? That this is the biggest compliment I'll give it, right? I do love the Juneteenth slant on this. I think that was a
Yeah,
really smart call because I do believe, and I'm saying this honestly, that I believe that over the years this will become a bona fide cult classic. This will be
yeah. I
one that
mean,
people
I
will
could
go back
see.
to on Juneteenth and be like, yeah, I enjoy this. So this will be like a staple for Juneteenth viewing going forward, right? And then I imagine over the years people will appreciate it more. You know what I mean? Because of
Right.
what it is, right? As a Juneteenth slasher film, whatever it is, right? For what it is, right? But I just felt as like a clever critique of the horror genre. It could have been a lot clever. It could have been a lot better, in my opinion. But
Right.
that's not to say that I was not entertained, because I was. I was laughing at some points. Other points, I was like, that kind of funny. The Nas reference
Yeah.
catch me by surprise. But I don't imagine many white people who listen to Stillmatic understanding that joke at all. But I like how they represent that joke. That was really cool.
Well, that's the
You know.
thing. It really come across. To me, it felt like something that for white people who into black culture and nobody enough about black culture is that. Because I said none of it like just new to you know. But I think so. I keep wondering like humor wise who this for exactly. And
Right.
the only person I could think of is a white person who kind of new into black culture, kinda maybe. I don't know. And if
Yeah.
you're younger. because it's kind of like the whole Gen Z culture stuff. You know, it have Gen Z discourse. Sorry, not Gen Z discourse. Gen Z slang. Everybody talk about, oh, Gen Z slang so weird. And I think no, that was just a sort of black people slang 10 years prior.
Mm.
Like, you know, it's like TikTok and Vine. It's that. Like, I see these jokes already. We know how to get these jokes done. All right, fine, I suppose.
Yeah,
You know,
I understand what I mean.
that's
Yeah.
how this whole thing feels.
Yeah, so for me, wanted to love this, wanted to call this one of the best comedies I've seen in a long while. But as far as
Right.
just a fairly decent horror comedy, yeah, it works, man. But I felt it just
Right.
given the premise and what they were going for, we could have gotten more goods, man. You know. So rating wise, I gotta give this lighter decent 3.5 out of 5. Though I would still say it's worth checking out. Though
Yeah.
I do see this being a cult classic in the near future. I do see this as, you know, a show that people go back to in terms of horror comedies and make, yeah, this movie was special. This movie actually did stuff, right? But I just felt that the comedy and the horror could have been bumped up a lot more,
Yeah.
man. You know, given what the premise
Yeah,
is.
it's one of these. Yeah, it's one of these. I call it destructive interference, right? You know, it's when you try to merge things and you don't get the best of both worlds. It's not the worst of both worlds, but it just kind of cancel out and didn't really do well. It ended up just being mediocre on both fronts. 6 out of 10 for me.
All right.
I'm glad I didn't hype myself up and I took my time with this. But it just needed punching up. It's a shame because I didn't tap into the really genuinely funny black energy stuff. You know? It's like older millennials who kind of yuppie and professional and they kind of miss their childhood, so they make a joke about it. It's for that type of person also. I think, I don't know. Well,
Yeah.